Hi everyone, I'm Amanda and I run the blog Major and Fangirl where I review different television shows every week. Now, this is video number 2 for this week. I just reviewed the crossover episode between Bones and Sleepy Hollow, and right now I am going to review the episode from Once Upon a Time called Nimue. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get all the way to almost the episode right before the winter finale, and that is this Sunday, which I'm really excited for because I found out a spoiler for what's gonna happen in the second half of season 5. So I'm super excited, but I won't tell you about that until a little bit later. But so here, consider this a warning. If you don't want to be spoiled at all, I will spoil a lot just because that's who I am, and I kind of feel like, well, not who I am, but I just feel like spoiling. So I'm gonna spoil a lot. So if you are planning on watching this episode and you have not seen it, please stop watching now, or you run the risk of viewing spoilers, hearing spoilers. And please don't say anything or write anything in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube, because you have been warned. So, okay, so Nimue is kind of a game changer episode. The reason it's a game changer episode is because Excalibur has finally been put back together. At the end of the episode, we see that Emma has successfully had Rumpelstiltskin turn into a hero, which happened at the end of the Bear and the Bow. He became a hero and saved Belle, and therefore he was able to remove Excalibur from the stone without dying. So in this episode, Emma actually takes Excalibur and the Dark One's dagger and makes it into one weapon, the ultimate weapon. So it's kind of exciting. And what's crazy is that when she does that, it's like you see every single Dark One that there's ever been. You have the Dark One Rumpelstiltskin over here, you have Dark One Nimue, which I will get to that in a second, and then you have all of these other Dark Ones. So it's just like over here. If I was Emma, boom, boom, waboom, and then Excalibur's like floating like right up here. So yeah, okay, so I did kind of spoil this video already. So in this episode, well, Camelot flashback, Merlin has a plan. He needs to get Excalibur and the Dark One's dagger. Now, who has the Dark One's dagger? Wait, do they have the Dark One's dagger? Oh man, I can't remember. But definitely have Excalibur. King Arthur has Excalibur, and so Merlin suggests that everybody except Emma go get the Excalibur from Arthur's palace. Now, if you haven't seen the episodes beforehand, things are kind of tense between Arthur and everyone else. And tense is kind of an understatement. David even mentions that they are practically at war with him. So getting Excalibur will not be easy. So while they're off doing rescuing Excalibur, Emma and Merlin go to where the Excalibur was first formed in order to find the spark from Prometheus's fire. Hint, hint, wink, wink, Prometheus's fire. I will get back to that. Remember that. So, but what's really like crazy is that when Merlin is telling Emma about the trip, he says that he's seen 2 different futures. He's seen one where Emma, she passes the test, which I'll explain in a second, and they both come down from where the fire's at, and they're all happy. Well, not happy, but they both come down. The second future that he sees is that Merlin doesn't come down. Emma kills him. Reason this might happen is because in order to get the spark, you need to channel the first Dark One, and the first Dark One is the one that made the fire from the spark and has the spark. So we'll make the spark from the fire and has the spark. And so Emma has to summon the original Dark One, and so she has the dagger. So she does that, and we find out that the original Dark One was Nimue, and Nimue was Merlin's fiance. And she had, just like Merlin, okay, apparently Merlin got his powers from drinking from the Holy Grail. And so Nimue drank from the Holy Grail as well and received magical powers which enabled her to survive being attacked by this man who dressed like a Dark One but wasn't the Dark One, and because there wasn't a Dark One yet. And so she uses her magic to kill him, thus tainting her magic with darkness and becoming the first Dark One. And I believe that's because Merlin performed the tethering spell, which binds her to the dagger, which is why all Dark Ones are controlled by the dagger. Now, Arthur, sneaky little Arthur, does the same thing to Merlin. Fast forward, this whole thing with Nimue and Merlin happened about 500 years ago. So now this is 500 years in the future minus the 6 weeks, the 6-week gap between Camelot and present-day Storybrooke. Most of the episode took place in present-day, no, in Camelot. Some took place in present-day Storybrooke. But, yeah, so Arthur ends up freeing Regina from the little bracelet thing that she has that keeps her from using her magic, and then has her cast a spell, a tethering spell to Excalibur. Thus, when someone wields Excalibur, they can control Merlin, just as whoever wields the dagger can control the Dark One, which is crazy. Having the ability to control a wizard, like the most powerful wizard, that's very, very trippy. Now, in present-day Storybrooke, there's like 3 different time periods in this episode, so it's kind of confusing. So in present-day Storybrooke, the cast minus Emma, so Regina, Mary Margaret, Henry, Hook, Robin, they find out that King Arthur is not as nice as they thought he was, because they had the Crimson Crown, I believe is what it's called, and that's supposed to enable whoever was called by Merlin to speak with Merlin. And so they bring Arthur in, but Arthur destroys it instead of using it to talk to Merlin. And they discover this, and so they know he's up to something shady. So that I'm glad that they realize that he's up to something shady. And it also brings up the question, where exactly is Merlin? Because of what they saw, like the message from Merlin, it was basically like a voicemail message. So yeah, it's really curiouser and curiouser this show gets. So I mentioned Prometheus's fire, and then I said wink wink, hint hint, wink wink. Remember this? So this is super duper 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 spoilers. So before I get to super duper duper spoilers, I'm gonna wrap up my review. That way, if you don't want to be super spoiled for post episode 11 of this season, stop after I wrap up. So this episode I really, really liked. I like seeing this caring, loving side of Merlin. Not that he's not, but I love seeing him so happy and carefree, because you can tell that there's something just holding him back, just slightly. You can tell that he's been hurt. So I really like that. And you could tell that Nimue was going to become the Dark One just by the words she said, how she phrased things and her actions. It was easy to tell. So it was predictable. And a bunch of us on Tumblr already figured out that Nimue was going to be the first Dark One. So it's like, whatever. At least we were right. So it's a bit predictable. So I did not like that. However, Captain Swan is amazing in this episode. Just the whole scene with Killian and Emma was just amazing. And when Hook gave Emma his surviving ring, as people have called it, and I was just, that was so sweet. And I'm a Captain Swan shipper through and through, and so I was jumping for joy, except I was watching this late at night, so I couldn't be literally jumping for joy, but I was in my head jumping, even though he said, hey, calm down, I'm not proposing. Still, it was cool. I'm wondering whether or not that was a hint for future episodes, or maybe the season finale instead of the mid-season. That'd be so cool if that was. Anyway, so this is me wrapping up my general review, and from now and the next part of this video, the last couple minutes, I have the clock right here, so I adjusted. So for the next couple of minutes, I'm going to be talking about my predictions for the next remainder of the season. So if you don't want to be spoiled with that, please stop watching now. Otherwise, watch at your own risk. You have been warned. Please, no mean comments. Thank you. Okay, so we know that somebody is going to die in some way, shape, or form, because they are going into the underworld. By they, I mean the cast of the show is going into the underworld. And the underworld, that means Hercules and Meg. And the reason I say Hercules and Meg, one, because I saw an article that said Hercules and Meg have been cast for season 5, episode 13. They are confirmed for that episode, which is awesome. I'm so excited for that. You have no idea. And I'm very happy because there have been different hints to this throughout the whole season and little bits in previous seasons. For instance, Charming and Snow White had to fight a Gorgon, Medusa basically. So that was one hint. I didn't think of it, but then when I saw the ferryman and the Furies, I was like, wait, they are totally going Greek mythology, especially when I remembered the Gorgon. And now they're talking about Prometheus's fire. That is total they're going into Greek mythology. And if that's not screaming, they're talking about Hercules, then yes, they're foreshadowing Hercules. So I'm so excited to see what they're gonna do. And if they're going into the underworld, that can open up so many doors. We already know that we're gonna see Hook's dad, and so maybe he's down in the underworld. That would be so funny if he was actually Hades. Just whoever they get to play Hades, if they have to have Hades, and if he is not the super sassiest person on the planet, I would be so disappointed. Okay, mini rant over. But not only that, but I think Liam's coming back. And if Liam comes back, talk about Joan's family feels. Seriously? And what if they bring Mila back? And Neil? Oh, the second half of the season is going to be ripe for feels and just the angst and all of that. And so the reason why I mentioned, I think, so we have by we I mean those of us on Tumblr, have this theory, we hate it, that Hook is going to be the one to go into the underworld, just because that would make the most sense. And then I have seen, with my own eyes, have seen a spoiler picture of Emma looking kind of at the same place where Regina was in a previous episode, where they were trying to save Robin from the ferryman, which luckily they did. And it looks like Emma's in that same spot, except she looks so sad. And she's holding the ring that Hook gave her in this episode, and I'm just, oh my gosh. Because he says, the Dark One is immortal, but Emma isn't. And so what if, because Emma looked normal, she didn't look like Dark Emma. So what if Emma, they ended up she ended up being freed from the darkness, and she was going to be killed, but that ring saved her. And what if something happened to Killian and it was killing her Emma, but because of that ring that saved her, and Killian ended up going into the underworld instead, and so he just the feels. Oh, and I could put a face of me crying, that would be me. So just the possibilities that this season can have, it's endless, and I'm so looking forward to it. And so I don't know if I'm going to be able to review the next batch of the season within the next couple of days, because like I said, it's just about finals, and so I probably won't be able to review for the next couple of weeks. But hopefully once finals are over, I shall be able to get back and film some more. So thank you for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy the winter finale, which is this Sunday. It is, so if today's the 4th Friday, the 5th is Sunday. No, this is Saturday. The 6th is Sunday. Okay, so Sunday the 6th, 8 o'clock, ABC. Sit watch season finale, well, mid-season finale, Once Upon a Time, and enjoy.